2025 has been a quiet year for us travel-wise. We've done a couple of short trips. We had that 4-night cruise to Amsterdam back in February, the mad day trip to Disneyland Paris to buy a Lego set, and a quick dash over to Lego House in Billund. But it's been nothing like our usual big adventures. We've had no summer holiday, no long breaks, no football match day vlog, excuses to go and visit European cities I wanted to go to anyway. And the worst bit of all is that we also had to cancel Anna's #1 bucket list trip, the cruise into the Arctic Circle to see the Northern Lights. It's been a bit rubbish on the travel front, but there is a reason for it, or a couple of reasons. Firstly, as we all know, Football Manager got cancelled, so our income dipped, and it dipped at the same time as we'd already committed to try and grow a new channel, the Lego channel, Block Party, which was expensive. So something had to give, and sadly this year it was travel. But next year we are going big. In fact, over the next few years, I want to tick off every single trip off my travel bucket list. So in this video, I'm sharing exactly what's on that list. From trips we're already planning for next year to the big dream destinations that I want to do before I die. We've always tried to fit a few big trips into the year, sometimes for work, sometimes just for fun, but 2025 just hasn't worked out that way. FM getting cancelled really changed our plans. The release of a new Football Manager game is pretty crucial to our travel plans for quite a few reasons. I mean, the main one is it does give us a nice little income boost, which we can then use to spend on the travel. But also, a lot of the trips that we've done in recent years have been as a direct result of things that we were doing for the Football Manager channel. Trips like Barcelona, Geneva, Rome, Turin. Those trips, although they turned into big, cool travel adventures, all did start out with, right, we need to do a match day vlog for the Football Manager channel. Now let's build the rest of the trip around it. So without that Football Manager boost, and with the amount of money we've had to invest into Block Party to get that channel up and running, there just hasn't been any spare budget for big holidays, and not as many excuses to try and force it into the budget somewhere as we have previously either. We still did a couple of small trips, but they felt like tasters rather than the full thing. And right now, with no trips in the calendar and even the dog kennels fully booked, we're basically grounded until next year. So to cheer myself up at a time of year when I'm usually preparing for our traditional pre-Football Manager release recharging trip, in this video, I'm going to talk you through our travel bucket list and daydream about all the places we're hopefully going to visit over the next few years. And this first one is closer to becoming a reality than it ever has been before, exactly because of how well Block Party has been going since we launched it. I think this might actually be me experiencing delayed gratification for the first time in my life, because one of the reasons we couldn't travel is because we had to spend the money on that channel. One of the reasons we're going to start traveling again is because of that channel. It all loops back round again. But what I'm getting at is, I've never been to the USA, ever. It is very close to the top of my list, and it looks like it's something that's finally going to be happening for us next year. We're aiming to go to Chicago in June for Brickworld, which is one of the biggest Lego conventions in the world. That's the work excuse for it, but while we're there, there's obviously loads of proper touristy stuff that we want to tick off as well. Anna is already planning trips to Walmart and Target, like proper first-time visitors to America, and I'm sure there's plenty of other stuff we'll add to the trip as well. And it's not just Chicago. This is hopefully going to be the first of many US trips. We obviously want to go to Disney World. We are very much Disney adults. We want to visit New York. I've always wanted to go to Las Vegas. Basically, we want to tick off all of the cliche tourist spots in America. And one day, and I've talked about this loads before as well, maybe a few years down the line now, but we would love to do a big North American road trip in a Winnebago. It's something me and Anna have talked about doing for as long as we've known each other, but the stumbling block we've always had is it's not exactly compatible with releasing daily YouTube videos that I need to be at home in my office to record. So that one probably is going to have to wait a little while yet, but it's very much on the bucket list, just a bit further down. But fingers crossed, USA in general does get ticked off middle of next year. But on the topic of road trips, there is one that's a bit closer to home that we're hoping to do in the early part of next year. We're planning a couple of weeks driving through Europe, with the main goal being to take Anna to Billund for the first time so she can see the Lego house where I went earlier in the year, and also so we can both visit the new biggest Lego store in the world at Legoland Billund. While we're at it, we also want to hit Legoland Germany to visit the factory store there for some serious pick-a-brick action. And I realise I've looked at a map. Those two places aren't exactly next to each other. So it's going to be a big old loop that hopefully, if we plan it right, can include visits to some of our favourite cities on the way, Bruges, Amsterdam, maybe even a Disneyland Paris trip on the way home. And then I think we'd also like to throw in a couple of new places we've not been to before, but we've always quite liked the look of. Hamburg and Copenhagen, I think, are quite high up on that list. And I do get that we could just fly to those places. I literally did a day trip to Billund earlier this year, but those super cheap flights don't exist anymore, and flying takes its toll on Anna physically, and there's no way she could do a multi-destination trip by air without ending up in hospital. Plus, if we take the car, it's much easier to take her scooter and then fill the car with Lego for the drive home without worrying about carry-on limits. I'm still traumatised about trying to sneak a massive T-Rex back on the plane from the Lego house earlier in the year, so I don't really need a repeat of that. And in fact, talking of Anna, it is a good job she doesn't watch these videos. She hears me talk about this stuff enough as it is. She doesn't need to watch the videos as well. But if she found out that this next one was only number 3 on the list, she wouldn't be amused, because it's very much her dream trip, and that is the cruise into the Arctic Circle to see the Northern Lights. We actually had this booked after years of talking about it. We actually had this booked for this year, but we had to cancel it when Football Manager was delayed to March, and it looked like the game would be releasing when we were in the middle of the sea, which obviously wouldn't be ideal for someone who needs to be around when the game is released. The ultimate irony there, of course, being that the game was ultimately cancelled altogether, so we could have gone on that trip if we hadn't cancelled it. And the timing of the cancellation announcement from Sports Interactive was the icing on the cake, because the game was officially cancelled when we were sat in a hotel in Southampton on the day we were due to board the cruise ship for our Amsterdam mini break that we'd moved the deposit from the Northern Lights trip onto, because we couldn't get a refund. We could only get a credit. So we booked the cheapest cruise we could find. And yeah, that makeup trip, the one that was effectively our deposit for Norway, that was the day they announced that it was cancelled, and we could have gone on the original cruise anyway. She wasn't amused. And I'm pretty sure that Football Manager really don't want me getting on a boat, at least not with a smile on my face. With all the uncertainty around FM and all the money stuff that we don't need to keep going back into, but which ultimately did mean we didn't know if and when we'd be able to afford to rebook it, we've now left it too late to be able to do it next year. Anna needs an accessible cabin. Those ones sell out super fast. There is nothing available for 2026, but our plan is, as soon as we can, get a deposit down, certainly by the end of next year, for the first available date, 2027 onwards. Because if this is the one item on this bucket list that doesn't get ticked off, there will be hell to pay. I don't even think I'll get away with this being the 5th of 5 that we do. Yeah, we've got to get this nailed down soon. But even though we can't do that one in 2026, we are going to try and do another cruise at some point next year. We've done a couple of short cruises in February now, really enjoyed them, and really want to try a longer one. Maybe that's not in February, so it's not raining and cold all the time. I will be careful not to book anything until after FM26 is actually released and in our hands, though, so don't worry about that. But top of our list of cruise options would be a round trip from Southampton to the Canary Islands. That way, Anna gets to go back to Tenerife, which she loved and is forever talking about going back to. And we get to visit some of the other islands that we've not been to yet to get some future holiday ideas. And if we can find an itinerary that includes a stop in Lisbon, even better, because that's another city I've always wanted to visit. And I officially, I think, still owe the Football Manager channel a Sporting Lisbon matchday vlog. Although I think the history books will show that I killed 2 birds with 1 stone by going to Juventus versus Sporting on my Turin trip, and I do still have the half and half scarf to prove it. So if VAR are getting involved, I think I am clear on that one. And then we have our dream trip, Japan. For me, it's all about the vending machines, the wrestling, the Pokemon, basically all of my favourite nerdy things in one lovely country. Anna just wants to see the cherry blossoms and go to Disneyland, I think, but I suspect she'll also enjoy all of that nerdy stuff too. We both had a good time at the convention the other week. It would just be an incredible trip, but it is also a very expensive trip. So it's not going to be happening next year unless we win the lottery. But one day we will do it. And in the meantime, we will try and book in another visit to the Hyper Japan convention in London that we made a video from a few weeks ago. And if you've not seen that video yet, you should go watch it now. I'll link to it down in the description. We had a lovely time. And that is my travel bucket list. It's a mix of trips that we're already planning for next year and a couple of big dreams that just have to happen at some point in the future. They have to happen. Let me know in the comments what's on your travel bucket list, and if you've done any of the trips I mentioned, I'd love to hear all about them. Specifically, ways to do them that didn't absolutely financially cripple you would definitely help me. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and we'll see you again for another video on Friday. Thanks for watching, folks. Toodle pip.